another example, going back a little before Abraham, and what I love about this example actually is that they're not too far apart from one another, are two verses that are juxtaposed to one another, right? There's a comparison made in the reverse to really demonstrate exactly what this is, and that's in the example of Noah, right? So what we see in the story of Noah is that Hashem regretted making mankind, right?
Relented, but sure.
Relented, regretted. Not the idea being, because I hate using the word repented, because that builds up all other
shuva.
kind of right. It's not teshuva there. So Hashem had remorse over his creation of man, right? But Noah found grace with God. So you're literally seeing just these two opposite concepts of one another, like one after the other.
And what's interesting is you brought up Noah. That's the first time we ever see the word chen, the Hebrew word for grace, is in Genesis 6:8. But Noah found grace in the eyes of God. That's the very first time we see this.
And the interesting thing is, right, and this is what is missed about the concept of grace, and missed about how Torah itself is a measure of grace, right? Noah found grace in the eyes of God, so God gave him a list of things to do.
That's funny. But there's freedom in that, right? Like, everyone wants to know, what is it I'm supposed to do next? There's a lot of freedom when you get the answer right away. Everyone wants, hey, all right, now what? And especially when the answer is straightforward, in Noah's case, hey, you and I were cool. And Noah's like, all right, now what? I need you to build a boat. You got it. Like,
right.
Or an ark or whatever. And even, let's take it back. I actually recently made a TikTok video. Some of you may have seen this, but I asked a simple question. And that is, which is worse, slavery in Egypt or obedience to the Torah? And the purpose of that question is to illustrate Protestants' problem with the way they view the Torah. They view it as slavery, as bondage. And so you mean to tell me that God delivered the people out of Egypt, out of slavery, but not actually, though, because he delivered them into slavery, right? That's not the way the Jewish people see that. Again, the Torah is a revelation of God, and it is the ultimate graciousness thus far in the eyes of the Jewish people.
Yep. And
it's freedom, it's liberty, this is godliness. This is what it means to be like God, to follow after his ways, to keep his ways, by the way, not the Jews' ways. I know Christians love to say, well, that's Jewish practice. No, dude, it's Torah. It's God's practice. That's why Purim is a Jewish holiday. Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday. But Passover and Sukkot and Shavuot, those are biblical holidays. God says those are my appointed times. That's a very big difference. But anyway, that being said, there's something to be said about this idea that they get to now do the things of God. They get to practice godliness, and that's laid out for them in the Torah, and they have the freedom to do so. So it's a very different view. It's a very different paradigm. It's a big paradigm shift, actually, overall.